Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you all for joining. My name is Mohammed Zahid from IBF Net, and it gives me great pleasure in welcoming all of you to our webinar, Islamic Microfinance in the Balkan region. On this note, I'd like to thank Mr. Wahbi Zakari, who is our esteemed speaker for today. He is the Executive Director at START, for taking the time out to be here with us today and share from his vast experience and knowledge of over 2 decades at START. And in these 2 decades, he has been promoting, educating, implementing, and enhancing the Islamic microfinance concepts and activities in the Balkan region. Just a little more about our guest. So Mr. Wahbi is a chartered Islamic finance professional from the INSEF University in Malaysia. He's also an international certified expert in microfinance from the Frankfurt School of Finance and Management. And in terms of leadership, Mr. Wahbi has obtained a level 5 certificate in leadership and management from the Institute of Leadership and Management in London, United Kingdom. START is an Islamic microfinance institution from Kosovo. And what's interesting is that it has garnered a very strong position in the industry. Now, a question would arise as to why and how this organization has reached where it has. So one of the answers which pops up, and of course, Mr. Wahbi would be touching on it later on, is that it's because of the specific approach and the easy to understand and the specific needs that it touches of its target groups. So just to give you guys an idea, since its inception in April 2002 until December 2019, START has offered financial services to around 17,000 clients, and the beneficiaries, with amount exceeding nearly 29 million euros. That's an astounding achievement. So without any further ado, I'd open the floor to Mr. Wahbi. And just as a reminder for our participants, if you have any questions during the talk, you could send it to them in the chat box, and Mr. Wahbi will be addressing them towards the end. Right? Thank you so much. Mr. Wahbi, over to you.
Okay. Thank you so much. I hope you can hear me well. Assalamu alaikum to everyone. I'm today here to share my experience, my knowledge, my thoughts, and also the feelings about all these decades of working in Islamic microfinance and Islamic finance in general. I will try now to share my screen in order for participants to have a better view and better understanding what I'm talking about. Okay. Let me just okay now. Normally the title, you have already seen the title, and I'm trying also to base everything what I will say to be based on what is our experience and what are the challenges and what are the opportunities as well, you know, in this regard. This is my own way of how I'm beginning kind of presentation and learning and teaching. You know, I'm just kindly reminding everyone that kind of the born ability to learn, like bewilderment, like the child when they have, we need to have this in order to learn new things, because, you know, the reason why we are not learning many things is because we already think that we already know that, and for that reason we are stopping ourselves for learning further. And this is just kind reminder for myself and for others as well. You know, when some subject is to be presented, the best way to be presented is from those who are experienced, from those practitioners who has done by themselves. Because, you know, when they're talking about the subject, their voice is different, their heart is beating differently. For that reason, the experience and the experience for the people from the field is very, very important to listen to. Now I will just start some in general, some point and some misconception that we came across all these years. first of all, we are talking about the loan purpose, then different talks about that, whom we should finance and how to move further, what kind of things we need to have in consideration when financing and this one. We can start by just saying that nowadays is nothing for free. For that reason, everyone needs money. Poor, non-poor, and all others. Everyone needs money. Now, how can we solve this worldwide challenge? We come across to listen about, like it's better to teach someone fishing than to give a fish. Sometimes I'm fed up with this story. We know that very well. But what are the loans? What are the targeted sectors that we want to finance people? This is very important. We started thinking about only for business loans to give to the people because we wanted them to shift out from the poverty to give them means for livelihood and then to generate income for themselves and for their families. But what about other sectors? What about health? What about education? What about marriage? Who is going to finance these poor people in this sector? This is very noble, supporting people. Even when somebody has some debts, what the microfinance will look, how they will treat that. This is just to open some windows on your head. I'm not going to answer on this, but we have done this because we think that supporting someone in health, supporting someone in education, in marriage, in covering the debt, I think it's noble, and we have hadiths and the Islamic teachings towards that. For that reason, we have included also these sectors, despite the sector like trade, construction, agriculture, farming, and these other services. For that reason, this is kind of thing that still is debatable, but from my point of view, this is very clear that everyone needs money. We are now also, there is a big debate about that. Is it microfinance serving its purpose? Is it lifting the people out from poverty or not? This is a big debate as well. We are saying to them, from our own perspective and our own experience, we are dealing with those who are active poor, those who are destitute or non-active poor. We need to support them with other charity programs, and this is the end. We cannot give the loans to those who are not active. For that reason, this is very, very important that we are supporting part of the poor population, because the microfinance is not the solution for every poor, but mainly for those who are active poor and who can manage money or who can do some activity or something. Those others, destitute or miskin, or who are not able to perform the work either physically or psychologically, they should be supported by the charity program. The other point that is in microfinance, there are a lot of talking about the SDGs. From my understanding, all the activities, what we have done in our institution, they are touching upon one of these SDGs, definitely. There is no activity that we have done so far, and then is not touching any of the SDGs that was adopted by the United Nations. By the way, this is myself when I was 3 or 4 years old. I put in this is my own photo. I'm on the photo in 1969, and I know what is poverty, and I'm competent to talk about the poverty, definitely. The other point that is debatable, outreach versus sustainability. Are we targeting, wider range of people to finance, or we are thinking much more about the self-sustainability? This is a big debatable. I have my own example that I'm putting forward to any conference or any talk that I'm saying. I'm saying, are we going to be as a candle that is lighting up and giving lights to others, and melting down itself, or we want to be as a LED lamp that is consuming a little bit of energy, but it's not consuming itself. This is still debatable because I'm not going to put the answer on this today. I'm just trying to open up some windows on the heads of everyone who is listening to this presentation. The other point that I came across many times when I talk to people, you know, the people always they're asking us, do you help the poor? You know, this is the first question. You say, yes, we are helping the poor. The second question immediately is coming, what is your repayment rate? And from my point of view and from my own experience, these two things are not related to each other at all. If you want to help the poor, you need to consider some late repayments, not fully repaid, something of this. And repayment rate, if you want to concentrate only on repayment rate, then you need to forget a little bit about some poor liars of the society. For that reason, first question, do you help the poor? The second is not related at all to microfinance, and not related at all to that. It's good to know, you know, what is the repayment rate, but not immediately after, are you helping the poor, you know. The other point which I want to put forward, you know, what is the difference between offering microfinance versus charity? With the microfinance, we are preserving the dignity of the people, which is very, very important, because when the people are getting loan, they will work harder. Their dignity is okay, and they will work harder to repay back, and then they might be in the future the contributors to the economy. Not to wait from the economy to support them, but the contributors to the economy. From the other side, if you give charity, the people might be negligent, might be just finish what you have done and waiting for another charity. For that reason, this is very, very important. We are preserving dignity, and we are making from people harder worker than they was before, because they need to repay back their loans. I think from all my slides, this should be the most important in this regard. How can we manage Islamic microfinance institution when you have these three things to balance? First, the wishes and the conditions of the donors and the funders who have given you money. You know, they like to support the big number of beneficiaries, and they are not reluctant at all to give any funding for your costs, but they like just numbers, you know. And from the other side, we have the clients or beneficiaries who would like to receive a loan with very soft condition, with a huge maturity, you know. And then how can you manage these two first? On top of that, you have the government authorities and strict rules and regulations of the countries, which require very, very strict reporting requirements, where you need to have high caliber staff. And the high caliber staff, definitely they want to have the high salaries. Now, how you are going to balance all these three things, this is a real challenge that I'm not going to go deeper into this, but if any further presentation, then we might think how we are going to balance, how we are going to educate the donors and funders to tell them exactly how the microfinance institutions are working, and how can we treat the beneficiary, how can we advise them how to use the money properly in order to not ask the huge maturity. And from the other side, how can we motivate staff to work with less salaries, but also from the other side, how we are going to approach to the government authorities, and how can we explain to them what we are doing, and a little bit, if they can, soften a little bit their requirements towards microfinance institutions. Okay. Now let us a little bit just talk about Start Microfinance Institution, which I was involved since its inception. Since establishment, I am serving as executive director and also board member of STAR. And like any other organizations, we have also vision and mission, which is reflecting definitely, you know, our strategy for the future and what we are looking for and what kind of beneficiaries we are looking for and how how we like to move further in this regard. Okay. Further, let us talk a little bit about the profile of STAR. The START is established in 2002. I just want to mention maybe on the same year when Islamic Financial Services Board was established, the same year in 2002. I just want to say that you know the experience, you know all this what we have done so far, and START was established by Islamic Relief Worldwide in UK. At that time, the conflict in Kosovo that happened 97, 99, you know, has left many people without any livelihood. For that reason, we needed to think about what is the way forward. How can we help these people to lift out from the poverty? How can they start their lives from scratch? For that reason, one of the programs that we were thinking at that time, despite other charity programs that Islamic Relief had at that time in Kosovo, we had established microfinance operation in 2002. All the money that was collected from Islamic Relief through fundraising partners, you know, either donations, either other forms of funds that were raised, we have dedicated to microfinance, and still we are using part of this money which was given to start since then. When we established microfinance operations, due to the country law, we have established a separate entity because charity organizations are not permitted to work with the financial transactions. For that reason, there was a need to establish a separate entity, which is our case, completely based on social enterprise model. Maybe we have all the elements of the business and doing like a business, but the intention and all the money that is generated is reverted either to charity activities, either to the microfinance program itself. For that reason, I like so much this concept of social enterprise, and we are still maintaining that model, and we are thinking also in the future to keep the same model as well. The other point, which is related also to START, we are serving as a center of excellence for different other organizations who want to establish microfinance operations. There are cases by the recommendation of IDB. There are some organizations from the region, they came to us to learn how we have worked all these years and what is the principles, what we are doing, how we are implementing our operations and everything else. For that reason, we are serving not only for them, but all for other interested, you know, through any seminars or any presentation. We are now serving as a center of excellence for microfinance operations, probably worldwide. The thing which is making us very proud, we are the first Islamic financial institution in the region, and by default, we are in the history of our country and the history of the region as the first Islamic financial institution. Although maybe we are not very big, maybe we are aiming very big, but still we are not at the level where we are aiming, but still we are the first Islamic financial institution in the country and in the region, and I'm very proud about that I was part since the beginning here. The other point is we have further funding from Islamic Development Bank. We have a trust fund which has supported us a lot, you know, in enhancing and increasing our microfinance operations and making possible also to start coming to the break even, you know, to the financial terms, I mean. From the other side, the Islamic financial products that we are offering till now, are Kard Hassan and Muraba. From 2002 up to 2011-12, we have offered only Kard Hassan to the people because, you know, if any Islamic financial institution, other bank or microfinance or any just activity, organization or microfinance program, if they are going to the poor country, they should offer services for the poor. If they are going to some middle income country, they can offer services for middle income people. We want to grow with the population. At the beginning, we have given just, and we couldn't cover our costs because we have considered that this is our humanitarian approach and not commercial at all. But for that reason, our contribution for all these years to lifting up the people from the poverty, that we have used, you know, this humanitarian approach, and we have offered services for the poor, definitely, because it's completely unethical if the bank is going up and the people are down. This is very unethical from my point of view if any Islamic bank is trying to work on that. If you have part of the population that are middle income or let us say rich, they might have some product to satisfy them. But from the other side, what is the percentage of the population poor? They should work with them. The majority of the program should be for those who are poor. The other profile is that we have our total assets are around 3 million euro. Okay. This is just some summary of the loans disbursement up to May 2020. You know, you can see now the total dispersed loans, the total number, I mean, is more than 17,000, which is amounted 29 million euro, which is 20 million Kard Hassan and around 10 million as a Murabaha loan. And this is very good sign that definitely we have been much more humanitarian than commercial one. Although we are now starting to little bit grow with the population and start offering also other services to the middle income in order to get to the self-sustainability and also grow every year, you know, for a certain percentage. The other point, which was important, very, very important for us, was investing in technology. With our limited funds, we have secured like financial technology, because how can we manage, you know, the complex activities? You know, if you don't have the proper software that is recording everything, all the information, and that might produce, you know, different reports and different analyses. For that reason, we have invested in financial technology, and we are very proud about that part. Recently, last 2 years, we started also thinking about and investing in regulation technology that will cover governance, risk, and compliance, which is very good support also for our organization, because in this complex situation and complex environment, you need to stay on top of things. You need to see everything, because otherwise we cannot follow all these developments, and how can we also fulfill all the strict requirements of the country and also requirements of the funders and other donors. For regulation technology, we have decided that we are going to take the software from Predict 360. Here we can see some modules of the software that we are using for our microfinance activities, when you can see different modules that are recording and capturing all the information related to all the activities that are within the microfinance institution. This is in-house made software and is completely made according to our needs. Every year we are updating the software, we are changing anything that is needed, we are adding something new, we are updating some old ones. For that reason, we are able now to produce from this software different kind of analysis. And we have captured all the information related to our activities from 2002 up to now. They are all here, and we are very proud also about this development. Now, what are some characteristics that is making us different from other conventional microfinance institutions, especially here in the country. We are the cheapest offer in the financial market in the country. You know, up to 2012, we have competed also with the banks. You know, our services, you know, were even cheaper than the bank. You know, where you can find microfinance institution that is cheaper than the bank, because the bank, they have also other services that are generating income and profit. For that reason, it's very difficult to compete with them. But in our case, we have competed also with them. The other point, you know, sometimes when we have deceased beneficiaries and they have still any open debt to microfinance institution here, if they are poor and unable to return, or if this will be a burden for their families, we are erasing completely their debt. We are going to their families and we are saying that for the sake of Allah, this is all finished. You don't have any debt toward us. And this is making us a bit different from others. The other point, you know, it's our approach. We are carrying an empathetic approach toward our staff first and also to the beneficiaries, which is also making us different from other conventional microfinance institutions. On top of that, we have also some charity activities. Every year we are distributing around 400 school bags and stationaries for orphan children here in Kosovo. Not that we are making any profit, that we are giving donations, but we have a saying that if you are not giving charity while you don't have, you are not giving even when you have money. For that reason, we want to be and to show our charity and humanitarian approach as an organization. The other characteristic, you know, we are talking about the leadership approach. The organization was led by leadership, not by any other means or any conventional means. But you know, with the values, all these values, you know, has been transferred to the staff and also to our part of our clients, you know, these values. Because I know that many organizations, they have put in writing some values, but these are just in writing. If they are not visual, if the people cannot see these values to them, then it is useless having only in the paper. Okay? You know, like any other organization or activity or program, they have challenges, and I try to summarize some of these. You know, one of the causes of the poverty worldwide, one of the causes is the lack of opportunity. Because sometimes, maybe very, very often, is happening in many parts of the world. Just very little part of the population, they have opportunity to grow, they have opportunity for education, everything. And the lack of opportunity is one of the main causes of the poverty worldwide. For that reason, even we, as a start here, as a microfinance institution here, if we are not able to secure further funding, then we will lack the opportunity to move further. Then I forgot to mention earlier that we never done any marketing, and the demand for our loans is much higher than the funds. We never done any marketing, we never done anything in that regard, and now we are able, we have the capacity, we have the knowledge, we have the infrastructure here that we can manage even the double funding that we have now. For that reason, if we are lacking this opportunity, then definitely we might grow maybe just a little bit, but not as the demand is and not as we are aiming as well. And related to the first point is also the self-sustainability, that we are trying to be self-sustainable. And also if we can make some little profit in order to slowly grow a little bit, because the need for Islamic finance is growing in Europe every time by certain percentage. The other challenge that we faced since the beginning is Islamic finance awareness. At the beginning, we had many questions. We had we had many rejection, many from people because they didn't understand, you know, the financial product. They were not aware at all about Islamic finance. Maybe they were Sharia scholars, but they didn't have sufficient knowledge in financial and economical transactions, and they were not able to explain, you know, fully, you know, about any financial activity that was related as Sharia compliant. But all our knowledge we have gained through university, through the people that we know, all the related documents that are already for free on internet, and later on we have developed slowly, you know, our Sharia compliance, and so far we are proud that from the people who have checked, you know, they said that there is no any black dot related to the Sharia compliance in our microfinance program, which we are, has made us very proud. And related to the Islamic finance awareness, we have organized 3 courses, and where around 100 people have been trained about Islamic finance, Islamic economy and finance by ourselves. You know, we have trained them, and the intention was to make them aware about Islamic finance, but also in the future, if any successful student, maybe we can think about employing if any need for further employment. I mentioned also before that our charity approach, you know, sometimes is making us difficult, you know, to move further and to reach self-sustainability, but even to grow. But also the challenges that I mentioned, that, for example, if you want to satisfy all the governing authorities of all their requirements, then you need to have high caliber staff, and then definitely all this is costing, including the technology, because nowadays without technology you can't satisfy all this requirement. For that reason, our charity approach is sometimes holding back a little bit, you know, the further improvement in our I mean in financial terms, to grow and to support more people. But anyhow, we are not regretting anything that what we have done so far for these people. I have already mentioned the huge demand for social finance, not only in Kosovo, but probably worldwide. For that reason, this is our opportunity, this is our chance, you know, to increase our activities and to have more people, and to avoid and to stop them, or how can I say, to lift them back from conventional interest-based finance to social or Islamic finance. This is our duty now. This is our mission that we need to do in order to contribute to the country's economy. The other challenging point is also lack of laws and regulation about Islamic finance. Although our country has developed only on the law side, has included Islamic banks, but there is no secondary legislation that how they should supervise and license the Islamic bank, just on the law. For that reason, we are not able now to develop further Islamic finance products that might satisfy, you know, the client demand. But for that reason, this is our destiny, that we need to deal this until something will be more relaxing. From my own assumption, there is no sufficient attention worldwide from the funders and from academics to support Islamic microfinance institution or organization. There is insufficient attention from them. This is my assumption. You know, we are struggling to get any support in terms of Sharia compliance, in terms of further improvement, and you know, because you know, sometimes these funders, and sometimes in academia as well, they have rushed to regulate the billion-dollar sector, which is Sukuk, Islamic banks, and Islamic market or something, which I'm not opposing at all, because this is also need to be regulated. But what is the percentage of these people that have allocated for Islamic microfinance? From the other side, wherever I go, They say, no, you are here to support the poor. Yes, I'm here to support the poor, but what is the support that I'm going to receive from others? This is a big question. Now I have just made some points. If anyone wants to establish a microfinance institution, Islamic microfinance institution, I mean, or any Islamic finance activities in this regard. First, is very important the Islamic finance knowledge and experience. You know, these people, they need to be trained, they need to be knowledgeable, and also, if possible, also experienced in Islamic finance. The second point, all the microfinance institutions, they should have a double way of financing. They should have also some donations, and also they might have some funding, like debt funding from any social investor, you know, which will be satisfied with a little percentage of return, you know, which is also acceptable for microfinance institution. But the donations sometimes are good in order to top up the expenses that we are not able to cover through our cheap services that we are offering. The next point is talent development. We need to train the staff. Sometimes, you know, this is also worldwide debate about the staff. Sometimes the people are taking the staff from the conventional banks and trying to train them through Islamic finance. You know, sometimes maybe it's working, but not always. But if we are able to train the people from the beginning, to prepare the people, this would be kind of good investment for the future of Islamic finance, and also for any financial institution as well. IT development, as I mentioned, the software, how technology is important. Also, this is very important for any microfinance activity. It's good to have at the beginning in order to capture all the activities for further development in the future as well. And also to decide about the proper financial products. As I mentioned, we need to grow aligned with the population. It's unethical to offer some very expensive product to these people while they are poor or something. We need to grow with the population. For that reason, the proper financial products and adequate financial products are very important to decide. Distribution channel, how we are going to approach to the poor, because this is, as I mentioned previously, caring approach and empathetic. We need to feel how they're, we need to understand how the poor are feeling. We need to go to them. We need to offer to the services to their premises if possible. This will make us, you know, more stronger and more reliable institution. And also on top of everything, despite all the technical knowledge and professional knowledge, if we are not having the proper leadership, especially ethical leadership, you know, we cannot move forward anything. The people need to be also adequately trained about leadership, because all the organization, everything, despite all the knowledge, despite, as I mentioned before, if you don't have the proper leadership, you are not going to go far at all, maybe just very short or maybe not on the proper way. For that reason, from my point of view, ethical leadership with the ingrained values is very, very important in managing and enhancing further any Islamic financial activities in any country. You know, in this regard, I should mention also that there is a huge potential, you know, for Islamic microfinance institution, if these are properly treated. And I think in this regard, the academics should play their role as well. You know, in order to, how can they link, you know, WACF, zakat, and the pension fund, or maybe from takaful, some funds that are idle funds, how can they allocate, how can they link to Islamic microfinance activities in order to support more people outside and take out them from being the burden from the economy to be the contributors to the economy. This is very important. Okay, just for your understanding, maybe some people, some participants here, maybe they don't know where Kosovo is. I have just made this Balkans map, and you can see the Kosovo. Where is Kosovo located? You know, for anyone from you that maybe don't know very well where Kosovo is. And this is all from my side. I hope I was clear, and I hope my intention was also good in this regard.
All right, thank you so much for the presentation. I think it really benefited all of us. There are a few questions. I'll read them out one by one.
Okay.
Since there is no interest on microfinance loans because of the Islamic aspect, have you experienced a dependency culture among the beneficiaries?
Uh, this is the point why we have started with Murabaha loans, because supporting the people all the time with Card Hassan, they might be used on that, and they will think, even when they are getting to the middle income, lawyer of the society, they might expect, from Islamic financial institution again Card Hassan. But now we are saying we are growing with the population. For that reason, we are trying slowly to introduce other Islamic financial products, then even sharing the profit. Because if they are at that level that they are able to share the profit, then we are very happy to share with them the profit. I hope this might answer the question, if I understood correctly. Sorry.
Yes. Just like a follow-up question on this, how do we tackle the perspective in the minds of people who see credit as charity? So do we have any accountability issues because of this? When people see the credit coming in as charity, they don't really need to.
Yeah. At the beginning in 2002, 2003, when we started, the people, they have mixed up a little bit. Maybe something because they like it to be as a charity, maybe some of them from not understanding well, but we tried to make people aware, because when we started our operation, we went village by village, we visited and we gathered the people and explained them very well what is the credit, and what is the purpose that we are offering these loans to them. And by the way, just to mention, maybe it's good for everyone here, that after all these years, if you go back to the field and meet the people who had benefited from start, if you just hear their dua, their prayer that they are doing for us, all these years of struggle, you will forget just by hearing, the duas of the people that you have supported so far.
Mr. Baby, could you stop sharing your screen so your main
Yeah.
video could be larger? Yeah.
Okay.
All right, thank you. So moving on to the next question. With regards to the Qard Hassan loans, as you mentioned before, so what was the percentage of non-performing Qardiyani, the people who might default on the loans?
Yeah.
So how do you ensure that the beneficiaries have that responsibility, or is there any measures that you take to make
Yeah.
sure that they're on track?
Yes, definitely. Sorry, I didn't forget. I didn't put on my presentation also the repayment rate. And let us take from 2002 up to 2020. Our repayment rate was from 96 up to 98 all the time. Sometime 97, sometime 97.5, 98. It means that over 95% was always. And this is based on our activity, based on this community gatherings, with the people, and advising them, how to. Sometimes even we have offered even business advices to the people who has taken the loans, sometimes, and we have supported also linking one business to another, just to make sure that these people will succeed. And we have kept this repayment rate at such high all the time, which we are very proud also about that. And also one study was done, sorry, maybe I'm not taking long. One study was done, research was done by why the people are rather paying to start their loans than if they have to other financial institution. And the answer from most of them was that because, we are paying to start on time because they are really helping us. They are not just saying, but they are really helping us. And this is very good for us.
Okay, so the next question is, does START charge any service fees? So if there's any default on the repayment of the loan, would there be a penalty? So I think this is going back to the sustainability question.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely, we are not charging any penalty. We are not charging any extra fee on any delays. Nowadays, due to the country law, we are now obliged to work with the bailouts. Bailouts like law enforcement agents for any delays. Now, if any negligent client, I'm talking for negligent, I'm not talking for poor, because sometimes we are extending, but we are extending just by saying to them, not officially, because even if we officially extend the loan, then definitely we are not going to benefit anything from that. But we are just being more flexible. For that reason, this is our charity approach, that I have mentioned, which is sometimes, as the question was forwarded, sometimes is a burden to move forward. But we are trying, to find the way how much we can be, such charitable, and how much we need to think about the other way to get paid. But definitely, we are not charging any penalty so far, either in Moraba, either in Kardasan, for any late repayment. We are just receiving our own money that they were supposed to give us back.
So do you have any guidelines or tools that are used to monitor the progress of the beneficiaries?
We have some field visits, although nowadays, because we are talking about 18 years, we went through the different stages, and definitely, we have particular loan officer. They had particular regions and clients, and they were obliged to visit all their clients, because not only at the beginning, but also later on, because there were cases that, for example, they repaid one loan, they made requests for another one. We had many repeated clients who had taken also second, third, and there are also clients that maybe 12 times, 13 times for all this year have taken loans from us.
Right. So moving on, involving zakat into the picture now. So do we use zakat for microfinance loans?
No, directly we are not using zakat. I have mentioned just this kind of opportunity. Now I know the IDB has mentioned, but I have this idea I have proposed, but I didn't get any answer on that. Because I put it, some of our clients who are very poor and they are not able to pay. I asked some charity organization if they have any zakat money to be allocated for those who are indebted, people. And this is kind of a connection with the zakat, and not other ways, because other ways I think is not permitted.
So basically, you're using the zakat funds just to clear off the debts and not for the loan itself.
We have just asked. We didn't receive any zakat money so far.
Right. All right.
We have just asked. We wanted.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So the next question would be, how do you invest or manage the surplus funds that might come to you?
We are just putting on a new loans. All the money is revolving. As soon as we get some repayments, we are making new loans, because all the time, our account is almost up to zero, because we are trying, as I said, there is a huge demand. We are not having fund so much as is demand from the other side. For that reason, there is no idle funding at all. We are just making a new loans, and normally putting a little bit aside money for the operational cost when the time is coming for this cost, not at the beginning, but when the time is coming for this cost, because we want to revolve as much as possible all the funds that we have.
All right, thank you so much. I think that was the last question for today. Mr. Webby, thank you so much for your time.
Okay, and, I hope you enjoyed the presentation. I hope that we'll at least learn something,
A lot. It was really beneficial. Thank you so much. Yeah. For our participants who are asking about the recording, it'll be made available on the IIIBF website and as well as on our social media, so you can check it out over there. And all the relevant links will also be sent to the participants via email later. So thank you all for your time, and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Alaikum salam. Thank you very much.